Welcome to the Reiki Business Collective, where Reiki business owners come together to share information, support one another, and serve the world. Thanks for joining us. I'm Christian of Standing Stones Healing, interviewing and inviting Reiki business owners to join the conversation in the Reiki Business Collective Facebook group. Thank you. Greetings and welcome to Reiki Business Collective. We are so honored to have you here listening and so honored to welcome to the collective Caig. Karen of Reiki Institute is a licensed Reiki Master Teacher with the International Center for Reiki Training and has been teaching Reiki since 2013, training students in all levels of Usui, Holy Fire Reiki, and ICRT Animal Reiki. Karen also coaches clients in business, believing that business can be spiritual and that spirituality can build a strong business plan to reach and empower more people. Karen is also well-versed in social media, and we are excited to be chatting with her about these topics. Welcome, Karen. Thank you.
Thank you, Christian, for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, thank you so much. So Karen, please, can you maybe start off by telling us a little bit about your business and your experience with your business? And we'll move into talking about social media, networking, all of those great topics.
Yeah, Christian. So we were discussing a little before we started that so many Reiki practitioners come into a Reiki practice or teaching Reiki because they want to help people. At least that's where I was. And many of us have little to no business experience. That's not where our focus has been. My primary focus in my business is teaching. I also see clients, but this need has emerged, as Christian has recognized as well, for some business training. Because if we're going to reach more people and help more people, they've got to know that we are here. And that involves marketing, networking, and I didn't know anything about that. I spent 30 years teaching college English, as we also have that in common. And in the world of academia, you might do some networking. You might go to some conferences and say, oh yes, well, have you read this journal of blah blah blah? But that's not the same kind of networking. And so I was fortunate enough to, when I moved my business to Northwest Arkansas, in 2017. So 4 years ago, I had to sort of start over. And I met someone who said, do you do any business networking? And I'm like, no, what's that? And she said, well, why don't you come to this meeting? And I went to a meeting with her, and I was sitting there and I noticed that each one of them would stand up and they would give like a 30-second pitch, an elevator speech. And now I know that's what that was. I didn't know what it was then, but I had figured it out when they got around to me as a visitor. I jumped up and said, hi, I'm Karen Caig. I'm the owner of Reiki Institute. If you don't know what Reiki is, and I don't know how Reiki was helping me. I was just like spewing out, it's a Japanese relaxation technique that promotes healing, and it's used in over 800 hospitals in the United States. And I just sort of rattled off, and then I sat down, and that was my jumping into, oh, okay, the business aspect. I thought, this is something that I don't really know how to do. I didn't know how to network, and so I joined this. So there's something called business. What is it called? BNI. Business Networking International, and it costs a lot to join, and it's a really good networking group, but I didn't have that kind of money. Here's the other thing: most people who are starting a Reiki practice, we're not rolling in the dough. We have a huge open heart. We're trying to help people, and me personally, I had a lot of money issues that I had to work through. A lot of abundance issues, and I didn't really want to talk about money, and it just kind of felt kind of but it's a necessary part of the business. So I joined this, it's called the MOB, Masterminds of Business. Yeah. And so in Northwest Arkansas, it's pretty big. Yeah. It's like, are you a member of the MOB? Yeah, I'm a member of the MOB, Masterminds of Business. But they they kind of took me under their wing and they said, okay, here is how you network. The important thing in business is to listen to people's needs, and so it involved a lot of, this is pre-COVID, but it involved going to coffee, and just getting to know people and to see if I, like, would I recommend this person to someone, and so I had coffee with insurance agents and bookkeepers and massage therapists. I mean, just, and they'd say, what kind of people do you need to connect with? And I said, I would like to be connected with some chiropractors. They might recommend me. Some therapists, do you know any therapists that I could meet with? And so I began to meet more people and let them get to know me, because they didn't know what Reiki was. And it sounds kind of woo-woo, in the business community. When you go to the Chamber of Commerce and they say, what's your business? And you go, I do Reiki. They say, really, what's that? So networking on my end became a way to educate and reach out to people and let them know that there were some complementary therapies that could help them reduce. I emphasize the stress reduction and how it helps, it works hand in hand with Western medicine. And so that helped me begin to get clients and get students. After COVID hit, of course, we had to sort of pull back on the in-person networking, and I really ramped up on social media. And social media, to me, it's virtual networking, or at least it can be. Christian, that's how I met you.
Mm-hmm,
you reached out to me through Facebook Messenger and said, hey, I saw you on Reiki Raise. And then we discovered that we had a lot of things, like a love of Ireland for one, and we have similar backgrounds. And so, that is networking. I recommended you to my son who needed some coaching, and so you meet people, and when you meet people, you're always listening for what their needs might be. And I have a whole book of business cards. If somebody says, like, I really need to get my car worked on, like, you know what? I have just the person, and I can share that information. And that's how the networking works. And it works through social media as well. If someone says, I'm going through a divorce, I'm really struggling in my life, I'm going through this, and they might need a Reiki session, but I could say, you know what? I also know this guy who specializes in life transitions, and why don't you give him a call? So to me, that's an important and easy and cheap way to grow your business.
That's great, Karen. I'd love to ask some more questions on that, but before we get more into the social media aspect, I'd really love to ask about the in-person networking. To many people, especially many Reiki practitioners who just want to be doing their Reiki thing, maybe they might be introverted and they might feel really nervous about putting themselves out there in person, going to a chamber of commerce or doing business networking. Mm-hmm. What advice do you have for that person who feels really nervous and scared about that prospect?
That's a really good question. So you may be able to tell, even just listening to me, I'm an extrovert, and even that I feel insecure, going and talking about my business. So for an introvert, my advice is to, so do self Reiki before you go, and listen. So this is the important thing that I learned about networking in person. Introduce yourself, tell them what you do, but don't talk about yourself. Listen to other people, because that is really the key to networking. So you, well, here's a little tip I learned. It's like, if it's an event that has like some food and, snacks or something, then just plant yourself close to the table, because everybody's coming over to get some food and everything. So you can just, and then, since you're a Reiki practitioner, do some self Reiki, and then just, you're going to be nervous. Of course you are, but do that self Reiki and ask Reiki for help, and just kind of radiate that out there. And you will be surprised at how people are kind of drawn to you. Whereas if you're an introvert, you may not want them drawn to you, but, and then just say, hi, I own a Reiki business. Reiki is a complementary therapy that's used in over 800 hospitals. And I I help a lot of people with their stress with it, and then say, what do you do? And then listen. And, the key to networking is learning as much as you can about other people. And I think, for me anyway, when I'm nervous and scared, and I do get insecure, is to just take that focus off yourself and put it on the other person, because that's the purpose of networking anyway. Listen to what they do, and then, ask questions. Just ask questions, and you'll learn a lot. And they will, because we all like to talk about ourselves, they will be open to you, and then they'll ask you, what the way networking works is, they want to know what you do, because they want to recommend you to people, because they're hoping that then you will like them and recommend them. So you're not going to meet a more eager group of people. I mean, it's not a hostile environment. So just take a deep breath, self Reiki, and just go and smile and ask questions. Really, really, seriously. I found that people who go to Chamber of Commerce events, and these are free. Now, this is the thing about, so BNI, that's, like I said, it's really expensive. And you have to attend like so many meetings. I mean, it's pretty rigorous, but these Chamber of Commerce things, most of the time they're free. And you just go and, try, make yourself like stand close to the food table and just meet people. I know my Chamber of Commerce does a coffee on Wednesday mornings. And the whole purpose is you stand up and practice your elevator speech. So you go up in the front, and everybody is so supportive. It's like, oh, we've got a new person. Hey, and I've seen people like, oh, I'm a little nervous about doing that. And so I'm like, oh, it's not just me, because I'm a Reiki practitioner, but everybody's like, oh, go ahead. You're going to be fine. Let's go on up there. And you can see sometimes, like my neck, when I get nervous, my neck and chest turn really, really red, and you see them being uncomfortable. So I'm kind of like sending them some support, but you will find the most supportive people. So don't be afraid. Just take that first step and go out there, and then you'll meet some people, and then they'll want to know about your Reiki business. So.
Wow, that is great advice, Karen. Well, really, I mean, oftentimes, isn't it so true that we're so much more afraid of things than we need to be? And here you are assuring us that actually this is a much more welcoming environment than you might expect, and that other people are nervous too. And even it sounds to me like the more you do it, the more comfortable you get with it,
Yes.
the easier it gets.
And that's and like I said, the first time I went to an event, I didn't even know this is embarrassing to admit, I didn't know what a 30-second elevator speech was. I didn't have to do that to get an English teaching job, you know what? I had to practice that. Okay, Christian, you've talked with me long enough to know I just go blah, 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 blah. So another important thing I learned about networking is don't just like vomit all of the information all over the people. Practice that just succinct, what is Reiki? Because you're going to be asked a bazillion times. Reiki is a Japanese relaxation technique that promotes healing and is used in over 800 hospitals in the United States. Then shut up. That's it. If they want to know more, you can, they'll ask you and then say, what do you do? And listen. So give a bird's eye view. I learned that as well from a good friend, networking friend, who sold Legal Shield. It sold like I don't know if you know what that is. That's like legal services. It was a subscription. But he said, don't tell them everything, keep them wanting more. Just, give a short bird's eye view of what you do. He said, otherwise you're going to be the one that's just like blah, 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 and everyone's going, don't talk to her, So that was a really good piece of advice for me.
Yes, and excellent advice to pass on to listeners. Thank you, Karen, for all of that. That is really great. Now, Karen, how does that translate to an online environment?
So for me, I've been encouraging, because a lot of my Reiki students, that's really, again, that's my focus is teaching Reiki. But so many of my students are coming back wanting to start a business. And they're like, okay, so what am I doing? What do I want to do? And so I'm encouraging them to develop social media presence. So if you can't go out, or like me, now my business is more international and I'm teaching just online. So if you can't go out and meet people face to face, people need to see you. How are they going to get to know you? And there's really no better way to do that than social media. And now I do get, sometimes my students are like, oh, social media, I hate Facebook, I hate Instagram. And, I could list 20 things that are wrong with social media, that it makes depression rates go up for teens who like scroll through Instagram. There are so many negative things I could say about social media. However, there's so many positive things I could say about social media. And to me, it is a tool. It's something, it's not good or bad. It depends on how you use it. So you have to be clear and intentional. So we're Reiki practitioners. Set your intention. Like, I am not going to be on TikTok for 2 hours. I'm going to post a video and I'm going to get out. Or Facebook. Facebook is so good so Facebook and Instagram, those are the two oldest. And actually TikTok has become the biggest now. And YouTube. So I know, Christian, you use YouTube a lot. And it's important. This is what we do. We're trained in working with energy, and it's difficult to connect to somebody's energy if you can't see them or, hear the voice, or, those are the ways that we connect with people, see what they say, see what they think. If doing this podcast, you may be hearing my voice going like, oh my gosh, this woman is insane. Or you may say, oh, like that woman's crazy in the same way I am. But how else would they know if you don't put things out there? So Facebook, you can create, I like Facebook because it's more detailed. You can do more with Facebook. You can put your classes on there. You can put your Reiki shares if you're going to do like a Reiki talk and a Reiki share. If you're a practitioner and you want to attract some new clients, you can create an event on Facebook or create an event on Eventbrite and then share the link on Facebook. It gives you a way to be visible. Do Facebook Lives. I just did a little Facebook business page coaching class last week? Yeah, last week. And I said, you all have to go do a Facebook Live. And they're like, no, I don't want to do Facebook Live. I said, you must. So they did it. I said, nobody's going to see it. I said, you can delete it. Like, I don't know, if you spill your drink all over your head or your cat jumps on you or something, you can always just delete it. I'm like, what's the worst that can happen? Sometimes you shouldn't say that, but they did it and they were so good. This one woman, she went live with her horse. So I taught her animal Reiki, and now she's teaching animal Reiki in Virginia. And so she just did a Facebook Live, and her horse was like, he came up behind her, was kind of chewing on her hair. And, but she was probably thinking, oh my gosh, this is not looking like stop. But that's what we want to see. We want to see people be people. And so the in-person networking purpose is to get to know the person, the real person, not the 30-second elevator speech, but to meet with them and, get to know them as people so you can recommend them. And the same thing with social media. Let them see you. Do an Instagram Live. Post some, for some people, it's probably because I'm an English professor, like, I love quotes. I think I put Allen Ginsberg up the other day. Yeah. Because that's who I am. They say your vibe attracts your tribe. Well, but you got to put your vibe out there. So I may not be everybody's cup of tea, but it might be somebody's. And how would they know if I'm not present? So.
Oh, yeah, Karen, that is powerful. This idea, we know this, we hear this, of course, your vibe attracts your tribe. But if we're not putting our vibe out there, then how can we attract our tribe? How do people know whether or not our energy resonates with theirs if we're not putting out our energy? That is impactful, Karen. Thank you for that.
Right. That's how so honestly, so when you contacted me through social media and I was like, oh, this is interesting. And what did I do? I went to your website, your social media, and I was like, but that's what I was doing. I was trying to see, like, is this some kind of a Fruit Loop, or is this a person I want to get to know? And I was checking out your social media and everything. I was like, oh no, I like this guy. We have a lot in common, and I bet I bet we're supposed to do something together. I bet because that's how the universe works, that kind of brings people together. So you got to show up. 90% of life is just showing up. Just get out there and just show up and be brave. See what happens.
Yes, that's excellent, Karen. Thank you. So Karen, as far as that like showing up piece, are there like best practices that you have to pass along in terms of like how much do you show up? So can you show up too much? And is there a right amount to be showing up?
That's a good question. No, in social media, probably you cannot show up too much. Except, as far as your viewers are concerned, nobody's going to go like, oh my gosh, not her again. But it can overtake your life. So you have to limit yourself. Because Christian and I were talking about how we're busy people. Building a Reiki business is not for the faint of heart. Or at least, okay, I'm just speaking for myself. I didn't have the funds to hire a web designer and an assistant and someone to mail out my books to my students and the certificate. No, I do it all. Like I do my website, I write my blog, I answer the phone. Thank you for calling Reiki Institute. This is Karen. How may I help you? You have to do everything. So social media, it takes a commitment, but I try to limit, like I post like once a week. 3 times a week is probably better, but here's the trap. You get on there to do your post and then you go like, oh, it's so-and-so's birthday. Happy birthday. Like, oh, look, this is going on. And but next thing you know, you've been on there for 40 minutes, chatting with people and that. So you have to be really intentional about what you're doing. That being said, you do have to interact. It's called social media for a reason. You have to be social. So you don't just throw something out there. Andrea and I talked in the Reiki Raise, Andrea Kennedy, about how we think it's important to do your own social media. You can pay somebody to post for you, but it's not you. So you post something, but then if someone makes a comment, you don't just leave it lying there like a dead fish. You have to go and, interact with the people. And try to just set a timer. Sometimes when I've got a full day and I know I need to show up and post something helpful. And that's the other thing. You need to add value to people's lives. Like, I don't really follow social media. It's like, here's my lunch. It's like, well, good for you. Post something that's going to help them. Post a tip. Post something that's going to inspire them if they're depressed. Post, if it's your clients that are following, or if somebody's looking for you, say on Instagram, and they do hashtag Reiki teacher or something, or Reiki practitioner. And, Instagram is all about the pictures. You want something that catches their attention and gives them something. You need to be giving. So just make sure you keep your own cup full. Just give away what spills over into the saucer, but keep your own cup full and don't be overwhelmed by it. I suggest if people don't have a Facebook business, that they start there, because you have your personal page, and there are some people who say, I'm not going to do a separate business page. I'm going to do just, talk a little bit about Reiki. Don't just advertise. People don't, well, do you like to just see like, oh, look, she's teaching again. Oh, look, another class. Oh, look, that's not helping me as someone looking at your news feed. I want to learn something or laugh. So like one of my favorite people to follow is Kathy Golden. She's another licensed Reiki master teacher. If I'm having like a kind of a day, I know I can go to her Facebook page or her Instagram, and there'll be something funny. Everything she posts is funny. And, and that's kind of what she does on social media. And I know that that's what she does. And that's why she has such a big following, is because she makes people laugh. Sometimes we need that. So just be conscious about what are you putting out there? Not just here are my classes or here's an event, but, let them see who you are and help them. Because that's ultimately that's what we're trying to do with the business. That's why we have the Reiki business, is to help people. So look at social media as another venue to deliver some help.
That is great advice. An opportunity to deliver help. That is wonderful. Karen, thank you so much for that. So Karen, you talked a little bit about that, that overwhelm with social media. Do you find with a lot of your students who want to get on and start a business that they do feel that overwhelm?
They do. That's why I started teaching some classes, and I'm working on doing just an online class to kind of help them get started. But now, okay, I am a 58-year-old woman, and my tribe is middle-aged women. That's the people that I work with the most. And so they get overwhelmed just by like, so I'm teaching an Instagram class this week, and my students in this class are like, so what's up with those hashtag things? I don't know what those hashtags are, and that's where I was. I didn't know. So they get overwhelmed by just the sheer magnitude of what you can do with social media. It's like, oh, okay, so do I need to be an influencer? Do I need to post every day? I saw one lady say that your branding colors are supposed to show up in your grid so that your Instagram is all color coordinated. And I'm like, just let that go and just be you. Just do you. And if you I don't have a lot of followers. I just need to be there so people can see like, there's that woman. Just to have a presence. But I don't care if I have 1 million followers or, it's possible to do that. It's possible to monetize an account and, make a living doing that. That's not exactly where I'm going, and most of my people aren't, but they see that and they are like, that's too much. I can't do that. And they shouldn't do that. They're Reiki practitioners. They just need to have a presence. And so just do what you can do and be very deliberate about it.
Yeah. That's great, Karen. So this idea of, viewing it as an opportunity to share and not something that, as a way to help, and not something that is going to overwhelm you, bog you down, but rather almost even maybe as a fun way to share and help. Yeah.
Because if it's not fun, don't do it. Oh, okay. So right before we met this morning, I was talking with one of my students, and I mentioned something about social media. She goes, I don't even do Facebook. She said, it's just not even worth it. She said, I've taken out some Facebook ads. It didn't do anything. And, and I just don't have time. I don't have the money, and I don't understand. I know if you do the algorithms, if you understand the algorithms, that could work, and that's what I'm talking about. And I was like, don't even clutter yourself up with all of that. And I usually tell people, don't take out a Facebook ad. Just don't take out a Facebook ad. It's called attraction marketing. I'm not paying for any of this marketing. I'm just putting out there, and I'm not saying like post about Reiki. It's so great, every day, because nobody wants to hear that. If you literally use Reiki for a particular thing and it helped you get through the day, maybe make a post about that. Like, y'all, I'm sorry, I'm from the South. Y'all, I got up this morning, I was getting ready and I was blow drying my hair. My hair dryer caught on fire and I nearly caught my clothes up. This literally happened to me a couple of years ago. It's a post I made, and I took a picture of my burned up hair dryer, and I just posted that because it was funny after I put the fire out. And I said, I took a picture of this burned up hair dryer and I said, thank goodness I have Reiki, because that really distressed me and I was able to, so like work it into your life. And if somebody else thinks that's funny, then they may say, maybe, I haven't caught my hair on fire, but I've been pretty stressed today too. Maybe I should schedule a session with Karen. That's what I mean, like attraction marketing. So it's subtle. And to me, it's more honest. And I think I had to overcome that sense of being salesy, like, I don't want a business page. I don't want to, I had a lot to overcome now that I look back on it. Like, it's almost like I was embarrassed that I had a business, because I wanted to help people. And I was like, I have it, and I charge for these sessions, and, and I had a lot of resistance to that. I don't know if any of the listeners have that problem, but you have to get past that, because there are people who need you, and you can't live on air. You have to pay, a mortgage. You have to take care of, I have to take care of my cat, I gotta buy cat food. I need money for that. So, you have to get past that. And the social media is just a good way. It's easy to just share, and to me, in a more honest way, not like, hey, sign up for a session. Just like, y'all, this is how I used Reiki today. And, and when they see that enough, I think they say people have to see something 7 or 8 times before they act on it. Right. So, and your entire news feed should not be just nothing about Reiki. It should be about you and your life. And even your business page, it needs to, give them some information, help them some way.
Wow, thank you, Karen. That is really awesome. So what do you say to that person who does feel hesitant because they don't want to be salesy? I mean, you're bringing up some amazing points here. And even that feeling of almost embarrassment at having a business. Yes, I am positive that there are listeners who will hear this and say, that's me. I feel that way. Karen, what do you say to that person? What are some ways that you can work to overcome that fear, that hesitancy to sell, including on social media?
Well, for me, I just have to focus on, I'm helping someone. What helped me the most was something that Eric Pearl, I took a reconnective healing with Eric Pearl in Norway, and he said, you have got to charge, unapologetically, you've got to charge for a session and let people pay you. He says, if you don't, they may not receive the healing. And I thought, oh, so that's what clicked for me, because of my hangups with money. If I go, say, for a massage and I pay for the massage, I get on the table and I say, give me all the massage because I paid for it, right? And I feel open to receive it. I feel that I deserve it, because I've struggled with a lot of self-worth issues. And that's the key of, if you're struggling with accepting money for your Reiki, that's probably why. And when he said that, I thought, oh, and if someone said, Karen, you've been working so hard, and I do massage, why don't you just come to my studio and I'm going to give you a free massage? I would feel so creepy weird about that. I would just be like, what are you gonna ask me for a favor later? Or because, and it's not the person. I'm sure they just have like a big open heart and want to give me a massage, but I would bring all of this with me, and it would be hard for me to relax. I would be thinking about, like, I wonder why they're doing this. Well, do you really deserve this? You should pay them. It's because you don't have any money. Well, if only you had money. I mean, all of this junk would be going through my head. So that really clicked for me and helped push me past, like, I have something that will help people if they, and I need to have some money if I'm going to do this, and I'm good at it, and if you have a business, you're good at it. So let them pay you. They want to pay you. Think about the things you want and how you want to pay for those things. That's the way your customers feel. You have Reiki. They want Reiki. Let them give you some money for the Reiki. It will make them feel better. Doesn't it make you feel better when you pay for things you want? Yeah, it does. And I mean, I'm not saying like, there you go, that'll be $350. Charge a reasonable price. What would you feel comfortable paying? What do you pay for a massage? And then accept it. And then that exchange of energy, it clears all that. Oh, now I need to do something for them. Oh, I mean, that helped me the most. Is that helpful, do you think, Christian?
Oh, I think that's very helpful, Karen. Yes, for sure. So Karen, as far as like that balance, especially on social media, between helping, offering, and selling, is there a balance between those? And
Ooh.
Is that something that there's a balance? That is there like a rule for that, a best practice? Is that on an individual basis? Because I asked this question, Karen, because I think that there are people who will just sell on social media, and there are others who maybe aren't
Give.
selling at all. Yes, exactly. What is that balance? And is there a best practice, or is that even just an individual kind of determination?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I think it's an individual, sorry for the phone ring. I think it's an individual determination, but there needs to be something that you feel comfortable with between selling and giving. For me personally, I like to have like a free Reiki share, because maybe there is someone out there, and this is just for my personal, peace of mind, to have a Reiki share or a Reiki experience, a meditation, or where I give like group Reiki through Zoom. I used to do, before COVID, a monthly Reiki share, and I would invite anybody who wanted to come and receive Reiki, and I'd invite my students so they could practice. And now we just do it online. But doing that once a month, I feel like, okay, if they really, really need Reiki and they really, really don't have any money, they can come for that. And I set that intention, and then that alleviates my feelings of guilt, if you will, because I grew up really poor, and I know what it's like not to have any money, and to literally need something and just not have it. It's like, well, there you go. My mom used to say, you could put in this hand and in the other, and see which one fills up faster. One in one hand and in the other. So if you're there and you feel like, no, but what if somebody needs Reiki? We'll offer that one opportunity, whatever that is for you. Once a month, once every 3 months, once a week, just depending on what you feel comfortable with. And then charge for it. And then that's once a month for me is enough. And I know. And you could put on your website or on your social media, like send in a request, like the International Center for Reiki Training on the website. You can put in a request for Reiki, and Tammy Hilla, who manages the office in there outside Detroit, every morning she gets all of the Reiki requests that they receive, and she places them into a basket under the crystal grid, and she charges the crystal grid and sends Reiki to those requests every day. Maybe you could do something like that. So that there's a way to give Reiki, but there's also a way to allow people to give to you so that you can continue to give Reiki.
Yes, great, Karen. Thank you so much. So Karen, do you have any real nitty-gritty kinds of tips for social media? Like if you have any, like maybe particular recommendations for using Instagram, particular recommendations for using Facebook. Before we wrap up, I know you're busy. I don't want to keep you all day, although I know that we could. You are an incredible wealth of information. I'm positive that everyone is really enjoying all of your tips. But I want to make sure before we end that you are able to pass along the tips, the tricks that you really want to make sure to pass along.
The best piece of advice I can give is just be yourself. The good, the bad, the ugly. There's a thing called toxic positivity. I mean, this term that has emerged from social media, where people are always showing you, their beautiful home, their beautiful children, their cute pets, and what a great life they have. I just went on a retreat to look at me. I'm in Maui. Let them see you fall down sometimes. Let them see you. One time I was scheduled to do a Facebook Live with a group of people, and the person who was supposed to go live that day couldn't, and I was getting my hair done, and I went live with, if you can't see me, I have dyed blonde hair, y'all. But I went live with foil in my hair sticking out like Medusa. Let people see that things don't always go smoothly. I think that's the most important thing on social media, is just to be real. Of course like I try to put up I try to look good, And I try to, be professional, but sometimes life gets in the way. Life happens. Let people see life happening to you. Just be yourself. And I think that's the most important tip I can give you, is just be authentic. Be vulnerable. Let people see your vulnerability. God, we're so hungry for that. Yeah, let them see your humanity. And that's it. That's all I have to say about that. That's it.
Well, that is an incredible wealth of importance, Karen. So thank you so much for that. That is beautiful. Now, Karen, we want to make sure to talk about what you have coming up, your offerings, and how people can get in touch with you.
Yes, please follow me on social media. You can find Karen Caig. It's Caig. It's like Craig, but no R. You can follow me personally. I would accept your friend request. But follow me on Reiki Institute. And I think on Instagram, I'm still Arkansas Reiki, because I live in Arkansas. I live in the wilds of the Ozark Mountains. And when COVID hit, I changed the name and went international, because I'm just online now. But follow me on social media. I'm also on TikTok. I'm also working on a YouTube channel. Christian, I don't know how you get so many of those videos made, but I think that's great. And you can go to reiki-institute.com and find my list of classes. I teach Reiki 1 and 2 and Reiki Master every month, and Animal Reiki 1 and 2 and Animal Reiki Master pretty much every month, and Karuna Reiki about every 3 months. And I'm working on, I've been teaching some social media classes that you can find on my Facebook page with the link to Eventbrite. So yeah, now I'm not like a social media guru, but if you want to learn how to use it specifically for Reiki, it's just what I've found, like, this is how it works for me. And I think this is how you can spend the least amount of time with the most bang and, have a presence, just the basics, and like, try this, do that. I did a class on like graphic design. I had to teach myself graphic design, how to make graphics, with Canva or PicMonkey. And so I have some classes like that as well. And I would love to work with you guys. And I also have a Reiki share that I do with Kathy Milanowski with collaboration. That's one of the talks I'm giving at the Reiki retreat this year, is Reiki and collaboration. This is the way the world is going to work now. So I'm happy that I got to collaborate with you today, Christian. And I'm so appreciative of this Reiki Business Collective that you're putting together, because we all need each other. We can learn, we can grow, and there's no competition. I mean, the world needs Reiki. So let's help each other get out there and deliver it.
Yes, exactly, Karen. Thank you so much. Absolutely. So thank you for all that you do, for your service to the community. It is a true honor to have you here on Reiki Business Collective, and want to say thank you so much. Thank you to all the listeners. We appreciate you and send you Reiki blessings. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, share, and join in the conversation at facebook.com/groups/Reiki Biz, B-I-Z. Blessings and best wishes for your Reiki journey.